Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I have made in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, I don't eat meat very often, but if I see some beef on sale, I will pick it up because occasionally I would like to use meat as a condiment in my vegetable dish. Now, this is particularly useful for anybody who just switched to a vegetable-based diet. You might want to add some meat occasionally. I use this particular cut, which is a top sirloin steak. And these cuts work very well for stir frying, but of course, you can use many different type of cuts, depending on your personal preference. The important thing is to do advanced prepping, and this is very much true with beef as with other type of meats as well. So as soon as I bring the beef from the supermarket, I will cut them up into thin slices. And I will store them in a Ziploc sandwich bag. Usually, I will just store in about 8 to 6 ounces. Now, the Ziploc sandwich bag turned out to be an excellent way to store them because it's just about the right size. And for about 8 to 6 ounces, this is a perfect size. Somebody might consider that the Ziploc sandwich bag may be too thin for this purpose, but actually it's thick enough, particularly if you store them for only about maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And this is usually the amount of time that I need to use up the beef. Now, after I store them into the Ziploc sandwich bag, I fill about 1/3 capacity. The reason is that I'm going to spread out the beef over the entire surface of the bag, and this will allow me to thaw them out much easier. And this method is actually very similar to vacuum packing, except you do not actually vacuum pack the food ingredients. However, remove the air as much as possible from the storage bag has some distinct advantage because when you have air in the bag, there will always some moisture in it. And if you have moisture, you're going to suffer from the freezer burn. And this way, by removing as much air, which will reduce the moisture in the bag, it will allow you to store the beef in the refrigerator longer. Now, pressing it out might take a little bit effort, but it's well worthwhile because when you press it all the air and you make the beef in a single layer, it will allow you to thaw it out much faster because more surface area that you have been exposed to the water, you will allow the better heat transfer. And the end result is that the thawing will be much more efficient. This way, you will not have to use a microwave to thaw out the beef. Now, usually when you pack it in this way, you can thaw it out in about 10 minutes or less. So when you get home, you can just take it out from the freezer and put it in a bowl of lukewarm water while you do other things. It will be ready when you're ready to cook. And I usually have different kind of meat stored like this. I have chicken in addition to beef. I also have pork, and sometimes I have lamb. And once in a while, I will also have a venison when my hunter neighbors will provide me with some venison. So I will have quite a few different kinds of meats to choose from, and this will make my menu much more interesting and more diverse. Using this method, you will allow yourself have many different types of meats to choose from. Again, I use them mainly as a condiment rather than as the main ingredients. And when you're using this approach, you really do not need to have a lot of meat. Just a small amount of meat will make your meal more interesting. And when you combine it with vegetables, it creates meals that are both diverse as well as fun. So I strongly encourage you to prep meat using this method so you can have different type of meat to choose from. And then I label the meat on the flap of the bag, and that's the best place to label it. Okay, in this particular dish, I'm going to cook it with mushroom together with scallions and tomato as well as some cashew nut. The beauty of this dish is its efficiency. Now, don't let the simplicity of this dish to fool you because this dish is actually quite sophisticated. It has several components, and together it make a wonderful dish. I cook this dish in my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok. The method that I use to cook this dish is a template, so you really do not need to have a recipe. I started with about 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Now you can use any cooking oil that you would like as long as it has a reasonably high smoking point. Important thing in cooking this dish, particularly in my stainless steel wok, is that make sure you season the wok. I use my spot seasoning method, which is a very simple method. All I need to do is to heat up the cooking oil up to the smoking point and let it smoke for about 10 or 15 seconds. Then I'm ready to cook. It is important when you use a stainless steel wok, you need to season it each time before you cook, because stainless steel wok do not hold on the oil film like in the case with carbon steel or cast iron wok. Even rinsing it with water, you will remove the oil film. So each time you need to spot season it before you start to cook. But it is a very simple procedure and it will provide you with a non-stick cook surface. Now I'm going to start out with some fermented black soybean. I use it again as a condiment. The fermented black soybean has a rich soy flavor. It's very similar to soy sauce, and it also contains salt in preserving the soybean. So not only it provides the nice umami flavor, it also serves as a source of salt. So in this case, the fermented black soybean in many ways is a substitution for using soy sauce. It will give you the same type of flavor as you would use soy sauce, but it's much richer but not as salty. Now I really enjoy this wok because it has a large flat surface area, which allow me to use it like a small frying pan. So when I add the beef to the wok, I want to make sure the oil is as hot as possible, because the heat is required to seal the beef, and that will seal in the flavor. As you can see that it cooked very rapidly. I try to let the beef to sit on the surface at least for a few seconds before I move them. The beef is only about 50% done, probably between rare and medium rare. I immediately add the mushroom to it. Now, important to add the mushroom cannot be overemphasized, because once you add the mushroom, it alters the temperature of the oil, and consequently, the beef will cook much slower. And that is important because it will allow you have much better control in terms of the doneness of the texture of the beef. Now, beef is tough to cook in this case. This is then followed by the addition with some scallion. Now, you notice that these scallion are cut in strips. They are almost like onion. They are the bottom portion, the white portion of the scallion, and they have strong onion flavor. And the reason I use scallion, because with scallion, you don't need to cook it very much. So they cook much faster in comparison if you use onion instead. Now, the meat is about medium. This is exactly how I want it. I then season the dish with some oyster sauce. Again, I also add a sweet chili sauce. By combining these 2 different sauces, it will allow me to create the flavor how I like it. And you can use whatever other type of sauces that you would like to have. And quite often, I will combine it with hoisin sauce, but this time I decided I'm going to use this sweet chili sauce instead. Again, it provides variations. Home cooking, the best part is that by making adjustment to the flavor of your dish, you can create many different variations and varieties. And this is the benefit of template-based cooking. Now, this dish is based on a basic template for stir-fried beef. And actually, the stir-fried beef template is very similar to stir-fried chicken. So all of this has this common linkage to each other. The end result is that by understanding the template, you can cook almost any type of dishes that you like. And this is truly the most significant aspect of the fast cooking system that will allow you to create many variations when you combine advanced prepping, template-based cooking, and flavor chasing. You have almost infinite capacity to create dishes of different varieties, and you can create dishes based on your personal preference or based on some other recipe that you might have found. And however, the important thing is that you do not have to follow strictly the recipe. Okay. The next part is that I garnish the dish with some fresh scallions as well as some cherry tomatoes. This will give the dish a nice fresh flavor. Again, it makes the dish more interesting. Last but not the least, I'm going to add some cashew nut to this dish. I love cashew nut, and because the fact that I can make modification to the dish in any way that I want, this allow me to make these changes or allow me to add the cashew nut as according to how I like it. Of course, you can skip it if you don't like cashew nut. This dish took only about 5 minutes to cook, and it provides the indication of how simple stir frying could be by using the fast cooking system. So if you can learn more about the fast cooking system by subscribing to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.